getting to I didn't do a big presentation. That's why I came to the hub. I just wanted to just to have an interactive way how to share. How do you share? How do you come up with content? How do you pitch content? But for me, I don't look at content, even if it's a product, because when you talk about field content animation, we're just only doing animation cartoon. We are doing out of work. We are doing different types of content, medical animation. We are doing product design. We are doing interior design, exterior design. So our company does a lot of stuff, but which we get through pitching. First of all, quickly, for example, when you prepare a pitch, the first thing is the name. If you are going to pitch to an organization, or even if you are pitching to your friends, whether they're business partners, so it's the name. First of all, for us, we have raised money, or we have done projects through pitching. Depends what we put together. So you have to have a name. Then the second way, the idea, or you have to have a concept brief. What do you want to do? But and there are things I've not put there, but every time when you are pitching, whatever you are doing, whether it's content, whether it's a product, but a product, whether it's a service, it has to be a problem you are solving. Even last when we pitch, when we are pitching animation, now we have started going into gaming. We are putting together production for educational games, which also for VR, because we are all field computer animation. It's easier for us to go into gaming. I've worked in the gaming industry before. But all these content are tied to a problem which you are solving. So from the name, you have to think about the idea and the concept brief. And why do you choose the idea? It's the problem you are solving. For example, Cosos. What Cosos as a company, when we started Cosos, what is the problem? The problem we are solving is lack of local content, lack of local animated content, which is diverse. So that's the problem we are solving. There's no local animated content in Africa. So the solution is, what is the solution? The solution is the content. We are producing content. And also the lack of the local animation content, for us, our problem is tied to lack of skills. That's how we got into Makere as a business. That's why we work with Makere and we manage it with Makere. So you have to understand that your concept has to be tied to the problem and the solution. Even if you are going to make a donut people to eat, it has to be tied to the problem and it's also a solution. Then the next is examples. When you talk about examples, I talked about the example of ideas. It depends what you are doing. Today, I think you guys you are doing content, you are talent, educational, can be tech. There are so many different examples of idea. But you as a person, whatever you are trying to work on, it depends what is your ideal example you are doing. Recently, we had a team at the hub for 4 different universities for the internships. And they came from different courses. You find that someone is just designing a stair which is going to help children in Kalamazoo. But that's a content. We started it as a content because all production, everything you see, it starts as a prototype. It starts visually before it gets into real production. So then when you come up with your idea for the problem you're solving, and then also you have to understand your target market or your target audience. For some of the content, it depends. Their content we are doing, because we now work with the Ministry of ICT, work with the RSB, their content we are producing, which is basically focusing on their need for training. So we are doing content for training people in those ministries or in those agencies. Whereas the content we are doing, for example, we are producing a children TV series. It's basically focused educational, and it's based on local games, but it's interwoven with STEM technology. So that means we are tackling the education using animation as a tool for teaching young kids. So that's where the audience comes in. So also you have to think about your audience. As an artist, it's very, very important. Whether you're an artist, whether you are just producing a video just for TikTok, because even those videos you see on TikTok, people have target audience. And the way I think TikTok is the best tool which has helped a lot of people to get visibility. Then another thing is also in your pitch, you have to understand the programs you are using. When I was there, you guys went through Photoshop, you were going through other programs, I think like Illustrator, Adobe Premiere. So those are one of the professional programs which are used in content production. But also the world has changed. There are so many small software, simple softwares which are used for content production. Even some phones, people produce content using their smartphones and go beyond imagination. They have some apps which are manageable to produce the content. For us as animators, we, like at Crossroad, with 90% we use Autodesk Maya. The software is called Autodesk Maya. And then also we add in Photoshop, we use Premiere Pro for editing, Photoshop for color correction, and Adobe After Effects. Adobe After Effects is also very important to learn if you're going to produce content, because it's easier to do video clips and color correction and editing. Also, it does editing like Premiere Pro. Then also on the pitch, also you look at the work plan. For us, it's very important that, because even when we are working with clients, we have to have a work plan, the Gantt chart, the time we are going to start the work and when we are going to finish, and what we are going to do. For example, in the production pipeline, you have what we call the pre-production, where you go into ideas, scripting, storyboards. Yeah, you need a storyboard for if you are producing content, even video games. You do storyboard if you're working in the game industry. So the storyboard just that they come from a script. The storyboard is a visual presentation of a script. But also it depends. There are content you won't need a storyboard, a script. Depends how it. But still, you need a brief write-up of your production. Then the Gantt chart, I told you, it's a timeline when you are doing A and when you are doing B. If you, for example, you are set to do a project in 2 weeks' time, so you have to say that from day 1 to day 2, I read the idea and focus on the idea, and also research. There is no any content you are going to produce without research. And research is really based on images. That's why here down I put there research on images. I've been in animation. I've been working in the animation industry for the last 20 years. I think 10 years in Uganda and UK for over 12 years. But one of the most important thing, even when you're working in the studios, all the animation you watch, we spend more time on research than even sitting on a computer and manipulating and the software. So for whatever you are producing, you have to be able to do research. When it comes to content, every industry now, content, as people who are producing content, is part of, it's a skill. Whether you are going to be an accountant, whether you are going to be a lawyer, we are working with a law firm and static bank. We are doing what they call visual contracts. People have never heard about them. Visual contracts. We use infographics and motion graphics. That's images and moving texts. So the content production is everywhere. If you are going to pitch for money, for funding, though we go and raise money in Europe or in America, you have to have a proper pitching presentation, which also has a visual presentation. It's very important. So to have content production skills, very, very important. Whatever, where you are, if you're doing product design, in your instruct like architecture, we're doing a lot of walkthrough, we're using 3D. But you ask, why do someone who's doing business needs to understand content? Because there is marketing. So that's where research comes in. Concept drawings, it depends. If you can't draw, you can Google images. There are so many images you can access on the internet. Internet is one of the best resources for education and knowledge. There's Pinterest. There's a lot of the cover. There's a lot of different websites who offer images. Some are free, some are not free. So that also helps you. The more you work around your project and have access, if you don't draw, then you have images which relate to what you are going to do, or sketches. It's very important. If you don't, it doesn't mean that you have to be good in drawing. Everyone, whether you're coming up with a concept, you have to be able to sketch how it's going to work. I remember when I watched Zuckerberg's documentary when he was starting Facebook, I don't think that programming was the biggest deal of Facebook. What is so that it drew a web how people are going to interact. The drawing was showing how people are going to interact. It was a big drawing, like on a big whiteboard, how someone will click on this image and then another and follow this image. So that recap of that web drawing, the concept was very important for Facebook because they had to know how they are going to interact. That's why the concept is very important. The script, it is applicable. Script is used in film, in music, if you are doing a music video, in animation, from adverts to film, to sensitization content, to education content. That's where script can work a lot. If you sometimes you may not need it. It's the same with the storyboard. So really, this is what I have like an just simple outline how to organize if you are pitching for your content. It depends where you're pitching it. Even if it's not a content, it's a product. Because for us, we look at animation as products because it has so many business opportunities that tied up around it. So I know we don't have a lot of time. Just wanted to stop here. I hope one day Godfrey is going to organize. So also, yeah, I can have more time to show you everything else to do physically. So I think I can be able to stop here so you guys can be able to get home.